Hello, everybody. Happy Saturday to you. And if it's Sunday, happy Sunday to you. And it's Saturday, October 1st. So that means about 4 weeks ish until our Halloween live stream. All right, so there's a few people here now. Jim, hello. Denise, hello. Minnie Rapunzel, hello. Madiak, hello. And anybody else who I have missed, hello. Just to let you know, if you look in the description below, there is the Zoom room ID and passcode. So if you want to join me, you'll need those two things. Also, there is a link to my Discord server. If you want to join that, that is there. There is a link to the JeffMara, excuse me, the JeffMara podcast Facebook page. And there is a link to the JeffMara podcast NDE's channel. And there's my personal Facebook, I guess, profile or whatever. If you want to friend me on there, I'm accepting friends till I reach the limit of 5,000. So, hello, Peter, and let's get going. Let's see what's going on. Now we've got Merlin here. Let's admit Merlin to the room. And I tried to put this little JeffMara podcast smaller today. I was working with that right before I started. And it's almost there. Maybe it needs to be a little bit smaller.
Hello.
Merlin. How are you, you magician?
Magi.
Magi. Is it magi or magi? How do you pronounce that?
I've heard both words, you know.
Merlin the magician, or would you consider yourself that, or a sage?
A mystic.
Mystic.
A fairy and angel mystic is what I refer to myself.
All right, a fairy and angel mystic. Now you got the hood on today. Is it cold there? You should be just as hot as me, unless you got your air conditioner primed up hard.
No, I got it cold in here.
Got it cold. All right.
Yeah, if it was hot, even when it was kind of warm, I would still wear the hoodie. But if it's really hot, like it gets here,
yeah,
then this is off. I'd just be wearing the cut off. But yeah, it's cold.
Oh, nice. You're probably like me. Probably doesn't get cold there till January, right?
I'm hoping to kind of the middle of October, really. That's why, because I mean, this is a new climate, but back in the day, it would be cold by now when I was younger. So.
Yes. So, what cards are you going to be using today?
I am going to use two cards. The first is the the ones I can't see.
Right.
Or at least tell if it's reverse or upright or not. So
right.
It's really a mystery if it's reverse, and angel deck as well. So I'm just trying to think. Which one do you think? Which one do you want to be the clarifying? It's your decision.
And what is the other card you have? Let me see.
The Radiant Rider Waite and the Angel deck tarot. These.
All right, let's do the angel deck, the primary, and the other one, the confirmation card.
Okay, perfect. I'll just move these in the front here.
Someone said Julia says she's in Quebec, Canada, and it's starting to get cold. I bet it is cold up there.
That sounds nice.
Yeah, I was talking to I recorded with a guest today that it's in Wisconsin. And he said it's starting to get down into the 40s at nighttime.
Nice.
Which that doesn't happen to us here till probably.
Yeah. We're in the same time zone, me and you. It's 7 o'clock for you, 7 o'clock for me.
Right. It probably doesn't get there for me until like November or December.
Yeah. I can understand that. You're in the desert, man.
I was just looking at it. Someone just showed me a property for sale in West Texas. And when you go out to West Texas, hardly anybody lives out in West Texas. I mean, what, between San Antonio's the middle and El Paso, which is the furthest west, it just gets pretty desolate out there. But someone had a ranch for sale. It was 47,000 acres, which is a ton of land. But I misread it first. I thought it said $48,000, and I was like, what? But then I realized I misread it, and it was $48 million.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Jeez. Yeah. But, I'm a little weary of ranches, the stories about Skinwalker Ranch,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see,
Mm-hmm. Well, what also, the person who was showing me the ranch said that there's an energy vortex on that ranch, and there are hieroglyphics on the ranch.
Hieroglyphics?
Yeah.
Like Egyptian stuff, or?
I don't know. I need to talk to her about it.
Okay, so, okay, that was quick. See, we got two. Look at the position of this.
It's ready. Those are 3 cards. All right, guys. So Merlin's about to do his weekly reading, and if you're new here, you can choose pile A. It's pile 1, 2, or 3. And if you're watching this tomorrow, it still works for you. So you can still choose pile 1, 2, or 3. So he's going to put 3 primary cards down and then 3 confirmation cards. And thank you, pointing spaces. And so if you want to get a free reading this evening, actually right now, basically, you can choose one of the piles and see what's in the cards for you.
Precisely. Okay.
So we'll see. What's in the cards?
Okay, we got one already. Upright. Now, I like the miniature ones with this because you can just put it on top of it. It just fits perfectly on the angel deck on top of it. It's amazing. I mean,
we've always got 2. We already got 2 people that choose 3. Peter says always 3. And Cad says pile 3. So we've got 3s up here.
I've got 2 that came out, but of course I go with the top. And so since I took it somewhere else.
Now we got a number 1.
I just gotta get the last one, number 3. So I had to reshuffle because more than one came out, but I always go with the top one when that happens. Then if that happens, I just have to reshuffle, because I just don't. I don't like getting multiple cards like that and putting them back because I'm putting them back in there to myself, and I don't like that. So,
all right. Is there any way you can boost your volume, Merlin? Because I have a little bit of trouble hearing you.
I could probably bring you.
Are you? Closer. You're on a laptop, right?
Negative. I'm on a mobile.
Oh, you don't? Do you have like your headphones set up like this?
Well, I had a pair because I got the cheap kind and they broke. Like they didn't last very long, because I gotta get a better set.
Yeah, I think we'll be able to hear you much better. And Keith talked about Bela Lugosi. I haven't heard the name Bela Lugosi in a long time. I would think that not.
Good actor, right?
Yeah, I don't know if not many people know who Bela Lugosi is.
Yeah, he's like a horror.
He was actor. Like, I think, the original vampire actor of like the 30s or 40s
or something like that. I can't remember.
Way back in the day.
My favorite's always, ever since I was a child, was Vincent Price. Love him.
Vincent Price, yeah, he was great.
Yeah, I love that guy. Matter of fact, after this is over, I may go watch an old Vincent Price movie on Amazon Prime or something.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, you got the classics. It's got the Pit and the Pendulum. You got the Haunted Palace. You got the Haunted Mansion, of course, in color as well. So that's a good option. Okay, so pile 1, guys. Okay.
All right, pile 1.
This is in reverse. This is the 8 of air. But you got this is reverse though.
8 of air. Okay.
8 of air. So that's good because usually in upright you got blindfold. In traditional tarot, the 8 of swords, 8 of air. So air is swords. So the 8 of swords. There's a woman with a blindfold, and she's bound, and she's got her escape is right in front of her, but she can't see it because she doesn't. All she has to do is remove the blindfold, pull it down. and she'll see that the swords around her is the escape. So so when it's reversed, you're acknowledging that you have the power, whatever difficult situation you may be going through, you have the power to change that situation.
Hmm.
We'll see what the clarification card is for this.
All right.
And you're not going to believe it. You're
Uh-oh.
not. 8 of water, or 8 of cups. Sorry, 8 of cups. This is cups. I was thinking of the fairy. I mean, I was thinking of the angel 8 of cups. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
same thing. So you're walking away. So you got 2 8s here, which is crazy. So you're walking away from a difficult situation. You're leaving. You're leaving behind all that. So and you realize that you have the power to overcome your current situation. So pile one, that's you. Pile two,
That
people, see
sounds
what you
good.
get. Okay, the Queen of Air. Got a bunch of air. Air. The Queen of Air reverse. Now that's not good. Queen of Air reverse is you're not seeing the truth of the situation and you're not using logic and reason. Okay, so that's simple. Okay, so upright, that makes sense.
Hmm. The
Devil.
devil. Oh, that looks
That's right.
spooky.
Well, it's just yeah, it looks spooky and it's actually the coolest looking card. But no, I hate the devil. Right. Um, but it means that the devil's got you in chains. It's got the 2 people in chains, meaning that you're enjoying the pleasures of the flesh. You're bound by addiction or stuff like that. So you're not living a fulfilled life. You're not and together the devil together with the queen of air in reverse. You're not having the best of times because you're allowing addictions and stuff to take over, and you're
Hmm.
living in the world instead of living more spiritual.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So they've
So
got to
that
drop their bad habits.
yes, and they can do it, but that's a lot of people in group 2 should resonate with that. I feel like because yeah, okay, pal 3 people. Um, okay, this is good. You got the 9 of fire or 9 of wands in traditional tarot in the upright position. Um, that means protect what you've got and what you built so far. Protect it and stand up for yourself, or stand your ground in some situations is what that can indicate as well. So don't let nobody push you over and protect what you got. So what's the clarification? Okay, yeah. So with the emperor in reverse, um, so the emperor reverse is telling you that you need to help protect what you got. You need more organization, and you need me more um, commanding in whatever it is that you've built. You need to have more authority and power over it because maybe people are pushing you over if it's something that you built or something, or your jobs, or something like that. So just protect and use organization um, with your stuff, basically.
Hmm.
That. So that's that, guys. I hope that resonates with everyone. Um,
Let me ask you this, Merlin. Have you ever, um, you know, been emotionally affected by the cards that you give people, or wish they had better cards, or whatever? Or are you at the place where you're detached? Just whatever the card shows is whatever the person gets, and it's not up, and you take yourself out of it. And
no, for me, I can't take my if somebody gets a bad hand and I'm doing like a personal reading and it's bad, I feel bad. I
you
do.
feel bad. Okay. But do you
Yeah.
think do you think you should not be feeling bad because you're it's not you're putting yourself in it when it's not about you, it's the greeting for them.
Well, some readers may have to detach because it's
Yeah.
easy to get wrapped up in other people's hand that you draw for them. So, but for
Right.
me personally, I'm not detached from that. And the more and when you're honing in or attempting to hone in onto other people's um, probable futures and current situations, there's an energy that can attach to you. So there is definitely a cleansing process that you have to do for yourself to rid yourself of those energies, especially if they're low vibe. It could affect it can actually affect tarot readers.
Right.
That's true. Yeah. So it's like kind of like entanglement, where they can entangle like light photons together, and whatever one does, no matter how far apart they are, if one's spinning clockwise, the other one, no matter how far apart it is, will go counterclockwise. So it's like that. So we and thoughts are made of atoms and energy as well. So if you think you don't have photons and going through you, and you're not attached to that, that's that matrix grid, we're deceiving ourselves. So we are all, even now we're all collectively linked though, in a way, so it's like that.
I'm
But
just,
when you, mm-hmm,
I'm sorry, go
sir,
ahead.
no, when you put intention behind it and you intend to lock on to somebody's energy, you're putting yourself in their crosswire, crossfire. So,
Right. I'm wondering if the optimal state of being for someone like you is you should be attached, whether the cards give them some amazing, they're going to win the lottery news or terrible news, whatever. You should be detached completely from the outcome. Does that sound right? That's what the optimal position for you to be in should be?
no, I'm not going. Even when it's like when it's bad, it's hard to. I'm not going to be as detached. And if it's good, I'm not going to be detached because
Mm,
I will be joyful and happy to see someone have a good outcome. That will
right,
make me happy.
right.
That's the truth. So
Well, yeah, I know it's you know it's tough. You want to be human and you want to be happy for someone if they get something amazing, and you don't want to see them get bad cards either.
no, you just I don't. I think majority of people feel the same way, but I can't speak for all tarot readers. Some people are just different, and
Yeah.
so they operate in you know differently. So, but for me, uh, I'm not going to detach myself because I feel if you detach yourself and you become a robot and you give someone bad news and you're just like you know like a wall, that could be kind of off-putting,
Hmm.
as well.
Right.
So yeah, don't be a robot.
All right. Well, if you want to find out more about Merlin, I believe that you finally made all of your social media sites the same. Is it Merlin and the Fae King's Crown?
Yes, that for YouTube and Facebook as
Your
well.
Yeah, so his YouTube and Facebook is Merlin and the Fae King's Crown. If you go to Discord, his name is Merlin. I don't. Are you still? Has been doing free readings in Discord. Are you still doing that?
Yeah, I've actually counted the number of people that I've read so far. I think it's a little over 40 now.
Over 40. Wow, that's great.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a good experience for me. So if you and I'll be helping. I'm not only helping me out. If you come to me for a reading, I'll be helping you out as well. So,
Cool. Awesome. All right. Well, Merlin, thank you so much for coming. We
my pleasure.
appreciate you, and we
Appreciate.
hopefully we'll see you next week.
Thank you, and I love you, and I love everyone, and thank y'all for being a good part and big, of this community. I appreciate all the stories and all the people that come on. Y'all are amazing. All right, that's all I got.
All right. Thank you, brother. Love you.
Okay,
Have a great
yes,
weekend. Cheers.
thank you. Yes.
All right. Don't report. Now, there was something I saw from the chat I wanted to say right before I bring my next guest in, but I don't remember what it was I was going to say. Oh, someone in Austin. Keith, maybe you can tell her to contact me. Austin's just right down the street from me. I'm blocking my face. Let's bring in Minnie Rapunzel. But I don't remember what it was. Hello.
Hello?
How are you?
Good, thanks.
Welcome back. Nice to see you
Thank
again.
you. Nice to be back again.
Now, do you live in New Mexico?
No,
Because
I
I see
wish I
those air balloons behind you, like the festival in
I
New
did.
Mexico.
I went to the Hot Air Balloon Festival last year.
Oh
It
wow.
was a dream come true. It was a bucket list,
Yeah.
thing for me. So,
Did
and
you
I know today's the first day of it this year, right?
today? I don't know. I don't really, since I don't live there, I don't keep up with it.
Mm-hmm.
Did you
Yeah.
did you take a ride in one?
No, that really wasn't something that I, needed to do. I
Hmm.
just wanted to be out there and see the sights, all the balloons go up and that. I probably could have went on a ride, and I'm
Hmm.
not saying I didn't go on a ride. It's just not what what my heart desired. My heart desired was just to see all of it.
Maybe lay down in the grass and look up and just see how many is up. How many take off in flight? 100, 200, 50?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I want to say like last year, I think there was 150 went up at once, maybe. I mean, I couldn't count them. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Hmm, that's cool. That's in Santa Fe or Albuquerque?
That's in Albuquerque.
Oh, nice. That's cool. Well, where are you
So
from? I forgot.
Canton, Ohio.
Canton, Ohio. And what is your real name, if you don't mind sharing
My
it?
name is Melinda. A lot
Melinda.
of times I go by Mindy.
Mindy.
But my real name's Melinda.
Melinda. All right. Well,
And
what?
then on Facebook, because I think I'm friends with you
Hmm.
personally on Facebook, it's Melindy Sue. So
I think I remember that. Yes.
okay.
Well, what do you
So
got to share with us tonight?
well, I've been wanting to come on for a while now,
Mm-hmm.
but it seems like things keep coming up. Like I have the grandkids, and then this
Mm-hmm.
I had two festivals I went to, so I wasn't able to even be on Saturday, and I missed everybody though. I will say that. And so, but two, I know how all of this works with so much synchronicity. So I'm kind of curious to see what my story has to, because I believe there's a reason why the circumstances just had me not come on till tonight, not really be able to engage until tonight.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious to see what other stories this brings out or whatever. But I'm a person that so many miracles like has happened to me.
Yeah.
And not I mean every day in my opinion is a miracle. You can find a miracle in anything in my opinion, a flower or anything. Um, but there's just certain things that really stick out in your mind. And this one, it's kind of one of the most recent, but not, I don't know. Let's see, like 12, 12, 13 years ago. It was 12 years ago. I had got a divorce, and in the process, I had lost my dogs. I had to get rid of my dogs because of the situation, the moving situation. And I had a favorite dog, and it just happened that way. I had a favorite dog, and he was a mini pincher.
Mm-hmm.
And I found a good home for him, but either way, he was a mini pincher. He was a mommy's boy. I mean, he loved me. Um, and when I lost him and my other dog, it affected me more than anything. Losing material stuff is one thing, the situation is another, but losing that dog really just hit me. As a matter of fact, to where I have a rule ever since I lost him. If it eats, breathes, or poops, I can't have it. So I won't own I won't own an animal of my own because
Wow.
I can't handle losing animals anymore. So about 2.5 years ago, through almost 3 years ago, I was sleeping and I was snuggling. I could feel myself as I was waking up. Because I was waking up, I could feel myself snuggling my dog. My dog's name was Michael, after Michael Myers. So, and I was fully awake, and the more I realized that he wasn't with me anymore, he didn't like vanish. The feeling didn't vanish. It just slowly dissipated as I became more coherent. You know what I mean? But I knew I was snuggling him because I was like, wait a minute, I don't have him anymore. How am I feeling him? I was so happy. And so the more coherent I got, the more he dissipated. And I laid there and I started crying. And I was like, God, I know you can't bring this dog back to me. I think with the timeline, he wasn't very old when I had got rid of him, but we're talking at the time he would have been 10 years old, whatever. A lot of dogs, sometimes that's their lifespan. And so I was thinking that probably he had passed away and he was coming to visit me, because I was trying to figure out, why did this happen? Why would I feel that now after all these years and whatnot? He still had never left my heart. I never forgot. I never not missed Michael. And I was, and I told God, I was like, I know you can't bring him back, or you won't bring him back, and I wouldn't have him anyhow. He's happy, I'm sure. But I know you can heal this hole in my heart somehow, because I'm still so affected. So about 2 months later after that, I was cleaning for a lady. That's what I do. I clean for houses and businesses and stuff. I was cleaning for a lady, and I want to say, I'm going to throw this in, not as a pat on my back, but for other people, so that they know the service. I was doing service work for the woman. I wasn't charging her. She didn't know that I wasn't charging her. But I wasn't charging her. It was an act of service I was doing between me and God. And to me, I wanted to throw that in there because that is so important for, I guess I want to say karma, to make it short. That's what truly brings happiness, is serving other people. So anyhow, I was cleaning for her, and she gave me the name of this couple that need their house cleaned. And I was like, okay. So I called the lady, made the arrangements. And this was like 2.5 months after that dream, or not. It wasn't a dream, but I had woke up, with Michael there. And so I went to these people's house, and out come running. They open their door, and this little black and tan mini pincher come out running, just acting just like my Michael would. The whole, I'm gonna kill your ankles, and I knew exactly what to do with him. Just pick him up, let him know I'm not afraid, I love you. And as he's running to me, they yell, Kevin, come here.
Mm.
And my heart sank. I fell in love immediately. I mean, how many people name their dogs a person name like I did?
Mm-hmm.
And so fast forward a little bit, like on my way home, because I had met them, went through their house, whatever. And on the way home, and God always does this, I choose to call source God. Um, he always reminds me that he's answered my prayer just after the fact. It's never like when I was holding Kevin and like, oh my gosh, look how cute. I used to have a dog like this. It was on my way home. God reminded me of that prayer, of filling that hole. And I have to say, it's turned out to where they have me bring Michael to my place all the time to watch him. They pay me to have this dog, while they're gone, which I always tell them, I don't want money. I love Kevin. I don't want money, but they pay me. They insist on me taking money to take their dog. I still clean for them. I was just with him last Friday. So I really wanted to share that. It's just one of, to me, it's such an amazing thing, that has happened. And that's just one thing. Um, but obviously I'm in love with Kevin. It's so sweet.
I recorded a podcast the other day, and I'm going to be posting it tomorrow evening. And this she has this thing about the 12 phases of transitioning over to the other side. And I believe she says once you get there, or once you cross over, according to her, all your pets are there waiting for you.
Mm-hmm. I believe that.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe that.
So maybe you'll be really happy to see who's there waiting for you.
Yes, I definitely will, because I've lost a lot of animals, not a ton, but enough. And but and it really has healed that hole that I had in my heart still.
Hmm.
Um, I
That's great.
still miss Michael. Like, I mean, it's been years, but I still miss Michael, but not like I did before. Just like I asked God, I was like, I know there's something you can do to heal this hole. And here it is. Like, I can go pick Kevin up anytime I want.
Hmm.
Uh, you know, he's like, they keep telling me he's your dog too. And I tell him, well, then quit paying me to take him, you
Hmm.
know.
Wow. That's even
So
better. You get paid and you get to bring him back.
exactly. And that's kind of like why I wanted to foreshadow about the service work, why I wanted to bring that up because, you don't know what situations, your good works and your good deeds will, I mean, to me, the Bible says, I'll give you back tenfold whatever you give to me. And I was given, and I've gotten back 100-fold just in that one interaction of doing service work. And then it come back to me, you know, not only did I get another very good client, nice client, but their dog, they insist I take money to watch the dog. And so it's amazing.
Can,
This is a great life that we're given here.
can you see yourself ever taking a dog again full time? Is that
No,
possible? No.
no, no, I won't do it. And that's something else that the place I live right now is a whole other miracle story thing. It's amazing. I'll call another night, call in
Hmm.
and tell, and
Great.
it's another amazing one. Um, and here where I'm at, I'm not allowed to have pets, but there's a fenced in backyard. And as I was doing the walkthrough
Hmm.
to see if I wanted this place, I asked the landlord, I said, I watched this little dog, Kevin, and sometimes I have him for a week or more. Is that a problem? He's like, oh no, you know, um, and even if I did get somewhere that I was allowed technically to have pets, I won't do it. I just can't. I'm not, it takes too much out of me. It
Right.
just does.
Right.
It
Right.
just does.
Right. I understand.
So I got the best of both worlds, and I actually have a lot of clients now that have had me watch their animals, their cats, go feed their cats. I've
Hmm.
turned into a dog sitter too, which is great. So
It would be great if you could also learn the ability to become a dog whisperer.
yes, I think so too, because they ha- they have that intuition and that ability to know things, I believe, and to communicate to us. If I could just quiet myself enough to, because I know I have an interaction with a lot of animals that other people don't, like I just get them, I guess. I don't, in a lot of ways.
Hmm.
um so I think it would be really awesome to be able to just go in and calm a animal that needs calming, or and too, a lot of times it's just a matter of your presentation and that of yourself.
Hmm.
If your dog's pretty much probably going to be calm, the cats are pretty much always calm, but it's the demeanor.
Hmm.
So your little white fluff ball is probably the most mellow dog ever.
Yeah. And she got a haircut too. We gave her the lion cut.
Okay.
So she's shaved except for kind of a fluffy head and a fluffy tail. I'd pick her up and show her. I don't know where she is. She's around here somewhere, but well, thank
Right.
you so much for coming in again and sharing, and we'll hopefully see you next time about your apartment or where you're living.
Right. Well, thank you so much. And I want to say too, I'm going to give a big plug to Merlin. He is great. He is
Oh.
so great at this. And I cannot see him being able to detach. I'm not saying he's going to lose a ton of sleep if somebody gets a bad reading, but
Mhm.
he's a really good person, and good people just can't just, it's not so easy to have that cutoff
Mhm.
uh ability. Alrighty. So thank you very much. I love the audience. I love you, Amara.
Oh,
I
thank you
listen to
so
you every
much.
day.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Take care. God bless you. Oh, she's gone. Didn't have to say anything. Guys, I'm not showing it next, but I told you last week that we got a new thing for you to remote view, and it's in my hand. Well, I don't want to show that. It's in my hand right now. So if you probably around 8 o'clock or so ish, I can let you know and see what this is. No, I didn't show it. It kind of flashed, but I don't think they saw it. So I do have an object here, and you can maybe at least get the material, the shape, the color. Maybe that will be helpful. All right, someone mentioned earlier, and yes, Julie Ryan is who I had the other day. That was Suzanne Gabriel. Yes, she must know Julie Ryan. That is who I interviewed the other day, and she'll be tomorrow's guest. And then this morning I interviewed a guest with an NDE from Wisconsin. I mentioned Wisconsin. And tomorrow I have to record an NDE, so that's 2 NDEs coming up for you. And I think I've got, let me see, who's our NDEs? I know on the 6th I've got to record an NDE, on the 8th I've got to record an NDE, and on the 7th, on Monday, let me see, have a woman, and let me see what we're, it's not the usual stuff. Her name is Vicki Joy Anderson, graduated from the University of Northwestern in St. Paul, majoring in Bible and English. And let's see what her bio says. Let's see, here it is. Well, that is part of her bio. After many years in corporate management, Vicki Joy stepped out in faith to become a full-time author and speaker. Gosh, I thought there was more that we knew about her. Where's the prep on this? She is an author of a book. I'm trying to remember what this book was about. Let me see. Oh, it's about sleep paralysis. It's a whole book on sleep paralysis. Now I saw it and I remembered. So that should be pretty interesting, you know, because sleep paralysis can be terrifying for people. And then I believe if you're able to control it, you may be able to see beings and or astral travel and stuff like that. So that's on Monday who I'm recording with. And I always say this, and I'm just, maybe I haven't, you know, usually if in my appointment book, if it's an NDE, I'll write their name and dash NDE. And then the other people, I try to like write what we're going to be talking about. And I'm not keeping up with it. There's another guest that I have coming up next Friday the 14th. I'm going to be recording on that day. Her name is Perukwa, and I think she's from Australia, and she does like, and she's had some, I don't know, maybe a spiritual awakening, but she also does the spiritual singing. And I've heard some of her music, and it was pretty cool. And I think she can, you know, like the monks, what is it, the Buddhist monks or some monks, that they can kind of do an overtone on top of their voice, and they can say that they're singing 2 tones at once. I think that this woman claims to do 4 voices at once, so I hope that I'll get her to just sing a little bit. I think that would be pretty cool. So that is with that. That's kind of what's coming up for you. Again, if you're new here, if you look down right under the video in the description, if you want to join, there is the Zoom ID. So if you go to Zoom and you click join a room, it'll ask you for the ID, and you type that in there, and then it'll ask for the passcode, and then you can put that in there, D48XU1, and then that should get you here with me. There's almost 200 of you here, so there should be 2 people waiting to get in. I always use that really low percentage, 1%. Underneath that is Discord, and if you don't know what Discord is kind of like Facebook, but different. Each person gets their own server, which is like their own chat rooms. And in my chat rooms, there's over 400 and something people there. You can chat with people. You can post video. You can video talk with each other. You can audio talk with each other. You can post whatever you want. And so that is something there that you might want to join. And that's also, and I have 3 rooms there, and one of the rooms says services, and people from time to time offer free services. As like we just had Merlin there, and Merlin, gives free readings there. So, and if you're a person that wants to offer a free service, then you can go to that. You can join, and you go to the services room and say, hey, I do tarot, I do astrology readings, I do long distance healing, whatever you do. You're welcome to do it there if you do it for free. Like if you want to practice your skills, you can go there and do that. Also is my Facebook page for the JeffMara podcast. So, and I might refer to that because I don't have anybody waiting. And last week it was so busy I never got to any of my news stories. And then there's my personal Facebook profile. You're welcome to friend me. I'm accepting friends till I reach 5,000. And then the JeffMara podcast NDE clips, which is a channel where I just take the little clip of no introduction, no asking questions, just the little clip of the person giving their NDE and posting it there. And so that is that. All right, so while we're waiting on our next guest, let's go back and see. Like I said, I never got to read any of my news articles from last week. So let me find those. See what did I post in there I wanted to talk about? Oh, I think I might have talked about this one, but someone, and I'm pretty sure I did, but if you didn't see it, there's someone who has a security camera in their room. I don't know why you'd have a security camera in your bedroom, but it looks like an alien kind of peeking around the corner, and it's small. It looks like about a 3-foot alien. So if you click on that on YouTube, you can watch that. That's there. Another one was interesting. It shows this. They were doing something on the bottom of the ocean, and they have this mysterious blue goo creature. And you can see that on there, and it supposedly says it stumped scientists to what it is. Unidentified deep-sea blue goo creatures recently left scientists scratching their heads after they spotted the mysterious blobs hanging out on the seafloor in the Caribbean. And let's see if they say the mysterious blobs were discovered sitting motionless on the seafloor between 1,300 and 2,000 feet below the surface. So that's pretty deep. Let's see. I guess they were live streaming, like they had one of those little, probably real small submarines. I don't know what they call those, Sea-Doos or something. They were down there live streaming, which is pretty interesting. I didn't know you could live stream that deep in the ocean. But they were live streaming, and they started seeing these gelatinous marine invertebrates, referred to as sea squirts. Maybe that's kind of what they thought it was. But anyways, if you're into the ocean and oceanography, you might find that article really interesting. There is another one that I posted of a UFO that you can see in the night sky over a village in India. I hope this sound doesn't pop up. I've got to make sure my sound is off. Yeah, it's kind of swaying back and forth. And let's see, it said odd glowing object was spotted moving back and forth over a village in India, and the sighting has proven to be so peculiar that it has garnered considerable media attention in the country. So interesting that we're seeing now UFO sightings in India, which probably there's always been UFO sightings literally in every country of the world, including India. So, but it's nice to see that it's in the media now. Let's see what it says about that. It says a curious aerial illumination can be seen floating back and forth while bewildered onlookers attempt to discern what it is they're seeing. And focus. What's your take? That's about it on that one. Let's see here. What other articles are there that I had on here? And here's another one. This is like an NDE. You guys might find this one interesting. I put this on there. There was a guy that in Nigeria. Well, I'll get back to that one. Guy who was dead in a coffin for 2 days, and he woke up and got out of the coffin. Bigfoot Thomas. I have a feeling this is Tina from Northeast Texas. We'll see. Yeah, Tina. See, I knew it just without even saying anything. And she has been having encounters with Bigfoot and been popping in to tell us what's going on. So maybe we'll find out. Hey, Tina.
Hey.
Did you happen to catch my video a couple weeks ago with what was his name? It was Dr. Somebody about Bigfoot.
Yes.
That was he's a PhD scientist. His name. Dr. Simeon something. Halfway there. Dr. Simeon. And it was real fascinating that he thought Bigfoot was an interdimensional beings, not some undiscovered primate here on the earth.
Right.
So have you had any more contact lately?
Oh, I'm always in contact. I'm always in contact.
Okay, what's new?
Well, I will say this. Last night, I couldn't sleep. I just had surgery.
Mm-hmm.
On my other leg.
Okay.
And so I've had 2 surgeries in the last month and a half.
Okay.
So I haven't checked in with you guys since all that happened. And so I was just kind of like in a really dark place, in a lot of pain last night.
Mm-hmm.
I had actually gone to the emergency room earlier because I formed a big hard knot in my leg, and they thought it was a blood clot, and it ended up just being an infection, and hopefully that's going to clear up. But so it's kind of like I was kind of going down to the dark side of the frequency and vibrational
Sure, pain will do that to you.
Yeah. And so I decided to do this guided self-hypnosis to meet your inner child.
Cool.
And yeah, and so like, and I it's weird. I've done some of these videos before where it's like guided regression or self-hypnosis, but this time I decided to record it. So I actually made a video of it and shared it with a few people. But it's pretty interesting. And first of all, I was just going through the imagery as I was guided, and came up to a house. And when I opened the house, the door, I went in, there was a black light. And I knew my inner child was in there with this black light. And then I was aware that the black light is mother. And when I go into the black void, because I've been there before through near death experiences, I understood that that's becoming aware of myself back in the mother womb, the celestial womb, where all of creation isn't really formed there. There's really nothing there. It's her womb. Like, we haven't formed yet there in that space, and this is where we're returning to. But we're never not there. We're always there. But when we leave our body here, we're aware of ourselves back in the womb. And quite a few years ago, I was getting out of the shower and was like, patting my face with the towel, and suddenly I saw this pitch black like space where there was black water, and the water was perfectly still, and I watched as this blue laser light started drawing the most beautiful uh mandala I've ever seen. Like, I've seen mandalas before, but this was extraordinary, and I was seeing it in my mind. And as I was in this guided meet your inner child, it was explained to me that's what my inner child looks like. It's a mandala. It's beautiful. It's perfect. And it's like the perfect, it's part of my body. It's part of all of our bodies. We all have this as one of our multiple bodies that inhabit the flesh form. We've got the electric body, we've got the auric body, we've got the emotional, we got a bunch of different bodies going on, and this is one of them. And what they look like here are these orbs that people see flying around. And at the center are these tiny little mandalas, and it's our unique design. It's our unique symbol. And I was reminded of my last near death experience when I saw everybody there in light form. And man, I was kind of like breaking down a little bit during this process. I just started crying, just realizing like we never leave our mother's womb. Like, we're always with her.
Mm.
I know you have asked a lot of questions about the black void, and I felt like, wow, Jeff's gonna think this is maybe it's cool, or maybe it's way far out there.
So you felt like you were in the black void again?
Yeah, yeah, and
It,
it's warm.
is it
It
velvety?
Yeah, and it's a river also. It's fluid,
Hmm.
but it's not water. It's just fluid, and like, our mother is always pregnant with us. We're always in her womb.
Hmm. That's interesting.
Well, yeah, and I mean, when I saw myself like that as the mandala, you know, it's like there's parts of us that are always perfect, and that's one of them. And I got to see it, and it's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen, like, that I can recall ever seeing, and that's me. And I saw everybody like that in my last near death experience. You are represented by a mandala that was created by our creator, you know?
Hmm.
And when you leave your body, that's what you'll look like, an orb of light with that little mandala. And it's like electricity, it's light, and it's color. And there's almost a sound to it too. And we all have that body. It's all part of us all the time.
Hmm. Um, so do you felt like after you did this guided meditation, do you feel like it spiritually transformed you?
Oh yeah. Yeah, because I returned back to that knowing that I'm perfect. It's like 4 months out from the last near death experience, and
Hmm.
just being completely in love all the time, was starting to wear off,
Right.
especially after having a couple of surgeries. And I was just like really questioning myself about even doing these surgeries, and
Hmm.
realized that I came down to that dark low, and I've had many very dark lows, so I could experience this really high frequency silver lining experience of remembering my whole perfect self and everybody else's whole perfect self. This is what we are. And when we see them, when we see globes and orbs floating around, that could be like us, or it could be from other beings that are around. And that's why we see them around the Sasquatch and the Bigfoot. And they're very playful, so it makes sense that your inner child, you see those dancing around with the Bigfoot.
Hmm.
because that's
Hmm.
the truth of what we can do, what they want us to know. We are multidimensional beings,
Right.
just like them.
Did you happen to catch the video that I posted with PMH Atwater the other day? She's
Oh,
been
yes.
researching it for like 40 years or whatever, and she said that it takes about 7 years for someone to completely process an NDE. Since you've had
Yeah.
2 of them, do you think she's right?
Yes. Yeah, I've actually had a few of them, and it's a constant process of integrating it and understanding on different levels as my awareness expands and my understanding of things expands. I'm given more pieces to my near death experience, especially the last one, because that was my homecoming.
Hmm.
you know
Yeah.
it was the best one.
Yep. All right, Tina. Well, listen, I got to run. I've got 2
All
people
right.
waiting on me, but thanks for
Right.
coming and sharing with us
You're
and keeping
welcome.
us up to date with what's
All
going
right.
on.
Love you guys.
All right. We love you too. Take care.
You too. Bye.
Bye bye. All right. So the next person is Leonard. Leonard, Laura, then Amara. Who's in line? First up is Leonard. And I wish I knew the numbers. I should have asked her, but you could see her NDEs. I just don't know the numbers. Leonard's got a cool background. Leonard. Leonard, Laura, then Amara.
Am I on?
You are on. You just want to turn
Oh,
off the volume from YouTube so I don't echo.
yeah. I think I just turned it off.
All right. You got a really cool background. What's up with that?
Oh, yeah. That's for a book that I
The
did.
book. All right. So.
Yeah, I forgot that was there.
All right. Well, your name is Leonard, obviously. Where are you zooming from?
Yep. Northern California.
Northern California. What part?
Yeah, Windsor, California.
Windsor. Is that further north than Sacramento?
No, it's about an hour north of San Francisco.
Cool. Awesome.
So Santa Rosa, maybe,
I've heard of it, Santa Rosa. Awesome.
Yeah, and I'm Straw Piglet, by the way, in the chat.
Straw Piglet. Okay, for you guys who are there, this is Straw Piglet. Well, did they talk you into coming in or what?
No, I just saw that you didn't have many guests.
Mm-hmm. Cool, thanks.
So,
well, thanks for popping in. So what do you have to share?
Well, I think I'm going to share, I have a lot of stories, but I think I'm going to share, it's like an NDE, but I wasn't dying or anything. I was just worshiping.
Worshiping at a church or at a synagogue?
With a group.
Okay.
It's a practice of surrender.
Cool. I like that.
Yeah. And it's something I've been doing since my whole adult life. And this one time doing it felt really powerful. And I felt that probably the group I was doing it with were really sincere for it to feel so strong. And all of a sudden I was what I'll describe as in heaven.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't, my body is just standing there, but my consciousness, it was like I was up above my body. But also it was like I was somewhere completely different because I was what I describe as one with God or heaven. And you've heard this before. It's hard to describe these things because it's not like this world. So it's not like God is in heaven. It's more that God is heaven. And let's see what to say about it. So,
well, what I find fascinating is that obviously I don't know the effects of people who don't come back, but it's pretty common that NDEers, especially when they're in some type of trauma, that right before they have their experience, they surrender.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like that. I'm wondering if you fight it, you don't come back. But if you surrender, you have an NDE and come back. I mean, like I said, I
Oh,
don't know. We don't know about the people who stay.
yeah.
But I find it fascinating about that, and it's interesting that you practice surrendering. Is that like? Do you feel like you're practicing dying in this surrender?
Well, so that's a really interesting point. And by the way, I did have an NDE, and I was surrendered first. And I've had a few semi NDEs, like things where like I stopped breathing in my sleep, and I got close to that line. But it's like, that reality is always with us. But when you get near death, and I suspect this is what's happening with drug users. I don't use drugs, but I expect they're getting nearer that line, and then you start to see outside the veil. So let's see. So to describe what happened, so here I am experiencing, and I've had a lot of spiritual experiences, but this was it was like 100%, even more than my NDE. And and by the way, whenever you need to cut me off, because I'm not sure how long it'll take to explain it.
Okay,
But
I'll keep an eye on you.
okay. So I'm in this experience, and from other experiences I've had, I know it doesn't last that long, because of what we're talking about. Like, if it lasts very long, for me, what I felt is my soul will just disconnect. You'll die. It will kill you. So, but I think that doesn't normally happen, because I think God makes sure that when you get too much, you return to normal. In my experience.
Now you're saying a long time on this side or a long time on the other side, because people say there's no time on the other side anyways.
Yeah, I don't know anything about the no time. I've never experienced the no time thing. I've experienced losing track of time, but I haven't experienced a separate time thing, so I don't know. In real time, regular time, we're used to. So for instance, for me, this episode lasted, I think, 10 or 15 minutes.
Okay.
Probably around 10 minutes. So when I was in the state, I thought, how would I explain this to people? And a lot of the analogies are the same ones you've heard. Like, one of the first things I thought of, it's like if you're a drop of water, and then there's the ocean, and you get dropped into the ocean. You're still a drop of water, but now you're also the ocean. Because what I experience is God is so, what I'm calling God is so completely, it's not material. That's why it's hard to talk about. You can't even imagine. Like, the part of you that experiences God is higher than your brain. It's a part, I knew in theory that it existed, but it's hard to understand that it even exists until you experience it. And but I looked for, and I wasn't thinking in words, I was just thinking, the kind of thinking that happens before you get to language.
Okay.
And I thought, well, what's the best word to describe this? And it wasn't really God, it was reality. God's a fine word, reality's a fine word. And also something that I realize is, if I get too good of an explanation for people, they'll think they got the truth. And you can't get the truth from an explanation. So you could actually get deceived into thinking you understand God, when that's impossible, except for the higher part of yourself can understand it, but your brain can't understand it. So in that experience, I then looked around, and I looked at the world, and I said, well, I don't see any reality in the world. And the God I was experiencing was infinite, no limit, in any sense. And I looked at the world and I said, I don't see any reality, God in the world. And I looked closer and closer, and it was like I was looking at a microscopic level, and I couldn't see anything. It just didn't seem to exist. And I wondered, what is this? Is it a reflection? But a reflection exists in a sense. So is it a hologram? But again, a hologram exists. And so I said, what is this? And when I said that, to myself in my mind, God spoke to me. And it was just very normal, and said, I'll show you. And then I saw kind of like this. So to explain this, in spiritual realities, in my experience, they're not material. So you know them. And that's what I was experiencing. I was experiencing knowing instead of perceiving, because perceiving, what I found is that in this world, that's what you do with your senses. But knowing is a higher part of yourself, and it's being. So God showed me that it was like God imagined the universe, and how my mind pictured it. It was like a swirl, like swirling water or something like that, and created the laws of the universe and in a vibration. And so I saw this vibration, and it was like a vibration of light, and it had jagged and soft, all kinds of shapes in it. And then I saw it as like lots of colors, although again, it's representative. It's what my mind made with it. And so God said, okay, this is the first part. And then God invented the second part. And this is all, you would say, in God's imagination. But again, it's like, for God, there isn't a separate imagination. So we can't really understand it. And then the second part was God invented sensation, the ability of sensation, the laws of sensation, the whole thing. Those didn't exist. And that was represented as like a box or a sphere. And then for the third part, God showed me when God brings the vibration down and it touches the sphere, all of a sudden the whole world pops into existence. And at that moment, I experienced it as myself. I'm in the room. I'm still also in heaven, but I'm in the room, and all around me are now walls and sounds and sights. And I don't feel God anymore. And it's because what happened is that the state of God is like flat water, completely still water. It's peace and nothing else, you could say. And then it's like you have completely still water, and then the vibration touches the water and the water ripples. And then we experience the world, and it's so loud that we can't see or hear God anymore, because God is so quiet and subtle. And even when we experience things in this world that we think are really nice, it's not, those things don't make us happy. That happiness is already there. What happens is they're softer than the rest of the world. The vibration is softer. Or even if they're harsh, they're blocking off a painful sensation of the world. So you feel that peace. How are we doing on time?
Well, I'm gonna have to run soon, and
Okay.
I'm gonna change the subject on you before we
Okay.
go. You mentioned that this picture was from a book. Is this your book, and are you an author?
Yeah, this is a fantasy game that I did.
What is your book about?
It's kind of like a Dungeons and Dragons kind of thing. It's
Cool.
for like a party kind of game. It's called Spirits of Kruok, and it's on Drive-Thru RPG. And I'm revamping it right now because I'm not really happy with it. People get confused by it. So I'm making it simpler.
So it's a role-playing game book, right?
Yeah, it's like a
Cool.
very role-playing light. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I used to play
Yeah.
D&D back in the day. We're
Oh,
probably
great. Yeah,
about the same age, so back in the
oh,
80s.
okay. Yeah.
If, you know.
So if I can, maybe I can finish it.
Yeah,
I can't tell
sure.
all of it, but
Sure, I have
so
a couple
one,
more minutes.
okay. So so I understood that happiness it's already in us. It's that peace. So even like if somebody takes a drug or cuts themselves, the reason they feel some peace is they're blocking off the painful vibrations of the world in their feeling or their emotion or whatever it is.
Right.
And that our perspective in this world is completely upside down because we think material things are the real, and thoughts are a little less real, and emotions a little less. The soul and God is like this wispy thing, but it's completely backwards. God is the real, and the further you get from God, the less reality is there.
Do you think
And
that what we live in then, this 3D world, is just a dream?
a dream is a really good way to put it. It's a deliberate dream. And my experience has been it's a deliberate dream that because God is unlimited, and that God is making, not made, but is making every moment to like play D&D, to play a character that can be challenged and have terrible things and great things. But the way I look at it is God, as I experienced, cannot be challenged because God is infinite in every sense, wisdom, power, all that exists. But with this illusion, then God experiences limits and challenges. And of course, we all know what it's like to be challenged, and I don't like it. Mostly, I don't like being challenged. But then again, I love games, and why do I love them? Because you build in all these limits, and then you get challenged by them. So after about 10 minutes or so, I was thinking, it's probably going to come out of this pretty soon, and I don't want to. I wish I could just stay normal, because what I realize is God is the normal. This world is the fantasy, the make believe, the crazy, the extraordinary. But I came out of it, and the feeling of it started going away, and I didn't come out of it happy about it. I came out of it like I felt like I just went to the most delicious meal ever. And now it's like, okay, you're done. Now you're going to eat porridge for the rest of your life. So I felt like, why was I just shown all this? I mean, it's neat, but what does it do for me?
Right.
And also I thought, how am I going to remember that this was real and not think that eventually I'll probably think it's in my imagination. And then I realized there was a little bit of it. It was like a light inside of my chest. That reality came with me. Or maybe it had already been there and I didn't know it or something, but it was like a touchstone. I felt like it's kind of like if I've been to El Dorado and I picked up a golden stone and put it in my pocket, and then later on I questioned, oh, was I really in El Dorado? And then I can reach in my pocket and say, oh yeah. I can't remember all of it, but I have this to remember that it really happened.
Cool. Well, Leonard, thank you for coming and sharing. I've got to move on. I've got a couple people waiting on me, and thank you for hanging out in the chat. I really appreciate
Jeff.
you.
I love your show. I've been watching you well over a year.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. And come back and share some more, because I think you have a lot more to share.
I would love to, yeah.
Great. All right. Have a great weekend.
Thank you. You too. Bye.
Thank you. Cheers. And next up is Laura. Laura is next. And we got 190 people. So, there should be, that's about right. 2 people waiting on me. And if you want to get in line, go ahead and get in line. And remember, I still have this object in my hand that we're supposed to remote view. So in between guests, or maybe we should get to that. Hey, Laura.
Hi, Jeff. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. All
I left on, there we go.
All right. So I haven't seen you for a while. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Now, your last name is, let me see. Is it
McLean.
Catherine? It's Laura.
What?
Your last name is McLean?
Yes.
All
Yeah.
right. What number were you?
A bunch of people asked that.
What number were you on the podcast? I don't remember. Do you?
Hold on one second. I'm just shutting off. There we go. I had the feedback. Now, what was your question?
Now, you were a guest, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say, what number were you? Do you remember? Because I
was 505, and because I am such a numbers geek, of course, I instantly added that. It's 1.
1. Okay.
So that was kind of cool.
Give me 1 second. I don't remember the title, so I want to. So if anybody, I want to familiarize the audience with you. There,
I think it was
505. Here it is. She heard your suffering over and over. She heard your suffering during her NDE. Yes, 505, Laura. So if you want to check out her NDE, it's number 505, and she's back. So welcome back, and thank you for coming back. It's so great to have prior guests pop back in, because most of the time they don't, and it's like I make a friend and then I never see them again.
I know. Well, I have to say, you're the first person I've talked to about the experience publicly, and I really don't know where the camera is on my computer, so
that's okay.
I'm looking everywhere, but I'm looking at you, and believe it or not.
Okay.
Yeah. So you were the first person I talked to publicly about it, and when you contacted me, I was really nervous, and I thought oh, what do I do? Do I say yes? Do I say no? Because the whole thing with anonymity, with my story is kind of, well, I mean, it's not a big deal to me anymore. But you have kind of a huge audience, so
Let me ask you a question. How much money did I pay you to be a guest?
Let's see. It came in installments of nothing, and then there was the next payment of nothing that came in a few weeks later.
I'm just kidding around, because there was a rumor out there somewhere that I'm paying the guests to come on here, so I just thought I would run that by you.
Yes, no, I was not paid anything.
But
no, you know what?
But you know what? I'm glad that you came on. I'm glad that you were willing, and I don't know if it was fear, but you just overcame your doubt and decided to do it.
Well, I knew that, the funny thing is once I kind of familiarized myself with, the whole community, I realized that at some point you would be contacting me. I just didn't realize it would be as quick as it was. And what PMH said the other day, I saw that, and that was a great interview, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
What she said about it taking 7 to however many years to integrate the experience. I mean, I think I'll be integrating mine for the rest of my life, but it's only been about 2.5 years. So talking about it now, I saw all the comments, and I have to say thank you to the person who counted the number of that that I said. Because actually that was really good feedback. I think I was shown what would happen in my future, and I will be doing some public speaking, so
Good for you.
that was really good feedback to get.
That video has almost had 43,000 views, so that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, that's
where we're up to, and let me see, about 300 comments.
Awesome.
So that's amazing. So that's great. Usually after being on my show, I kind of have a knack of finding fresh faces like you, people who have never shared, and then once they've kind of hit my show, then the guests seem to start getting solicited by other shows. Have you started getting solicited by other people to ask you to come on?
No, I got a lot of Facebook like friend requests
Cool.
and things like that. Um, I mean, the way I look at things is like I knew that I could not say no to you because it was part of
Mm.
a process that like I had to do some things that
Mm-hmm.
make me feel uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And I was, especially because my NDE was not in a hospital. So, I was thinking that like you would grill me or something.
Yeah, I know.
And
Yeah.
but
Why would
then
I
we
do that?
had this wonderful conversation, and like I could just so quickly let my guard down. But the reason I wanted to call in was oh, there I go. See, I said but now I'm aware of it.
Well, before you do that, the audience is asking, or someone in the audience is asking, can you please share a revelation from your NDE? And that's
Oh,
from Minnie Rapunzel, who was, wait, no, that's from Science Learner member.
a
A
revelation.
revelation.
Well,
What?
there were many because when my NDE first started, um, like it was a process. I understand it now as I was becoming clairaudient, and
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea what that was. So I was getting information, just from wherever, higher sources.
Do you hear those
Uh,
voices in your voice, like the way we think or read a book, or do you hear it in a completely different voice, like
well,
sometimes
I'm
male,
not
sometimes
I'm not
female?
clairaudient now.
Oh.
It lasted for like maybe 2 days after the NDE.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but that was definitely outside of me. I mean, at one point I realized that my stomach hurt, and I thought, why does my stomach hurt? And I heard this voice say, your stomach hurts because you're hungry. Put food in your body. And I was like, oh, okay. But one of the biggest revelations, and in A Course in Miracles, it defines a revelation as something that is incredibly personal. So a revelation for me might not be the same as someone else, but when before I got pulled out of my body that day, I knew I had to call a friend and tell her a couple of things. I mean, I told you this in the story, but when the cloud showed up and there was lightning, I'm sorry, but I just would not believe that if someone told me.
Mm.
I really wouldn't. So that was a revelation. Since
Can you remind us? And please don't be offended because I do so
oh no,
many.
what happened?
I don't remember how you had your NDE. Can you briefly tell us?
So I experienced joy for the first time in my adult life, like probably since the age of 7 or 8. And I was like heavily addicted to opiates
Mm-hmm.
and drinking.
Right.
And I realized it was the drinking that was going to kill me first, because my liver was not doing well. And it was the day that I felt joy that night when I went to bed. Well, I didn't go to bed. I laid down in bed. Um, I thought to myself, the amount of opiate that I was using, there was no physical way that I could be alive using the amount that I was using. It's almost as if our bodies worked like with calcium. If you take too much calcium, but no, it's not calcium, it's vitamin C. If you take too much vitamin C, it just gets washed out. Like it's not, it doesn't get build up to toxic
Right.
levels. So that's what it seemed like was happening with the opiate. And anyway, when I had that like understanding that I couldn't explain how I could possibly be using that, not even be tired, it had no effect. And anyway, it was the next night that I got pulled out of my body. The story's just, it's really not believable. I mean, if I was someone and I heard it, I would not believe it. But since I've come back, like my guides basically told me to read A Course in Miracles,
Mm.
and a year on my 1 year anniversary of the NDE, I open up Facebook and there's my Facebook memories, and there's a quote from 6 years before that from A Course in Miracles. I had just started it, and the beginning of the quote was, "I just started this book that some people say is life-changing." And it was a year to the day, or well, it was the 1 year anniversary, but I wrote that 5 years to the day before I died. So um like, I guess the biggest revelation is we're living in a reality that is not what we're taught. And like, since I spoke with you last, like, I've gotten just interested in everything that has happened. Actually, it was because of the interview. There was a comment that someone made about Neville Goddard,
Mhm.
and instantly, like, I think it must have been my intuition, like, I was like, "Well, who's Neville Goddard?" And thank you to the person who wrote that, because I've read like 3 or 4 Neville Goddard books now. And it got me really thinking about how there was this explosion of consciousness in the 30s. And like in 1945, the US added fluoride to the drinking water. And we're at the height of a world war. And the US is worried about cavities. Like,
Mhm.
I mean, it also just happens to calcify your fluoride, um,
Mm.
calcifies your pineal gland. So anyway,
Minnie Rapunzel, who was just here, said that she got that book because of because of the interview with
oh
me.
really?
Yeah, and you know
That's
what? I
awesome.
want to say that I love that you make the point that if this didn't happen to you, you would never believe it, because
Well,
there are guests of mine that come up with their experience, well, tell their experiences, which I see in the comments. Almost every video there's at least probably one comment, or every other video, that this is too way out there, I don't believe it, this is BS, or whatever, right? But I love that you make that point that you wouldn't even believe it either unless it happened to you.
no, I absolutely would not. And what I knew when I got back, because I was on the other side saying nobody is ever going to believe this.
Mm.
And there, see, I said thank you
That's
to the
okay.
person. Anyway, when I was on the other side, I really didn't think that anyone would believe it, even there. And then here, I had this thought immediately, like, geez, I'm going to have to work miracles basically to get anyone to believe that what happened really happened. But I am living in a whole different body, and I'm learning how to stay at a state of consciousness that is so, like, it's just so enjoyable. Like,
Mhm.
I've never experienced that really before, like sustained.
Right. Now, the guest that was just on previous to you, Leonard, to me, he was saying that over there is real, and where we're here now is the fantasy. Would you agree with that?
When he said that, yes, I would absolutely agree with that. When he said that, it made me think of something that it took me a long time to say when I got back. When I was over there, because I had borderline personality disorder before this. Like, I had it like up until um the NDE was at 43, and up until the age of 40 I had issues with it. And then it just kind of, like, just kind of, it got better. But it completely, they explained it to me on the other side. They also explained that the souls that are closest to being angels are hoarders on this side,
Hmm.
because
Interesting.
when you take someone like an angel just gives. gives, 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 gives. When you put that in duality, it's, oh my God, I'll never have enough, you know? But the souls who take that on are the most advanced souls. That's why in the Bible, Jesus said the first will be last and the last will be first. It's everything is opposite. It really is. And meditation is just like going home sometimes. Like I've had the best. I still can't like control astral travel, which bugs me, but I've had the best experiences meditating.
What type of meditation do you practice?
I just do a lot of guided
Like
meditations
on
where,
YouTube?
yeah, you
Do you
had a
have
guy on
do you have a favorite one?
right now. Paul Santisi is really good.
Interesting. I think someone else mentioned him
Yeah,
recently.
I had listened to him before, and the person who you're talking about is who I was thinking about, because he mentioned it, and I tried the meditation that he was talking about and had a really great experience because he just kind of it basically just shuts your body down or puts your body to sleep while your mind's awake. And then the ones that I like the best are the ones that just leave you there, and anyway, before I forget, I'm on this page on Facebook for A Course in Miracles, and there's so many people that look for like advice and all that, and that's great. But it just seems like pages are getting overwhelmed with people who want to like teach it and run their own course.
Right.
And I just want to say to people, it doesn't matter who you are. Everything that you need is inside you. And the book, you will understand what you're meant to understand. And you don't need to study it for like 30 years. You don't need to pay someone to take their course because then the information's been filtered through a human brain.
Right.
And it's you want it straight from the source.
Right. Yeah, that's that's got to be a book on my list. I need to, it's hard for me because doing the show every day, I'm just crazy, crazy busy. And I tell the guests too, because guests send me their books and, either in the mail or they give me a digital download of their book. And I tell them, and I can't read your book. I can't read everybody's book every single day.
Right.
It's impossible. But and I'm glad you said that because I thought the Course in Miracles was by this famous woman, Julian or whatever, but I didn't realize. I'm not sure who. There's
Marianne Williamson.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I thought that.
Yeah.
I thought she wrote that. I didn't know much about the Course in Miracles, but apparently that's just her interpretation of it or teaching it. I'd like to get the source, like what you're talking about. Just get the one and figure it out for myself.
Well, because the way it works is you build the bridges in your own mind. You can't and that's the other thing about like the first two things that people say when they get that book, when they see it, because it's intimidating, is A, I need to find like a teacher, and B, I need to find a group. And I don't know, I read the book all by myself and I did not understand everything. But I had it gave me everything that it promised in the beginning, and I mean, the introduction says you can do this now, or you can do it later, but, and that means after you pass, but you're going to do it. And it to me, it's if you want this lifetime to be your ascension lifetime, read that book.
That's cool.
Your guides will help you understand it.
I got to get it then. I got to get it.
Well, what happens is you end up getting like advice here or there, or you see it, or like for me, it literally appeared in a drawer that I swear I did not leave it in.
Now, isn't that
So,
book, from Jesus? At least that's what I
it's
thought I'd
Jesus
heard.
channeled. It's Jesus channeled. And when I first heard that, I wasn't, even when I was reading it, I wasn't quite sure if I believed that, but so many things happened to me that by the end of it, it was like I had a relationship with Jesus, and it was like Jesus taught me how to see God in everyone. And I mean, God's just the label that I use, like source, love, whatever you want to call it, it doesn't really matter. But, I feel like because the first half of my life, I got such a um, experience that of judgment that I can pick out instantly. Like two things that happened since I've been back is I know right away when someone's lying to me, and I can pick out anyone's deepest like insecurities. And I was thinking to myself, like, I don't want to see someone and just see their insecurities.
Right.
Like, that's just awful.
Right.
And I realized that I was doing that because, like, I want to see God in them. Well, I can't see God in them until I see God in myself. And that's why I'm seeing their insecurities, because all I see is insecurities in myself.
Mm.
Um, so when I had that, like, that was a revelation. Um, like when I had that understanding, it was like, wow, poof, you know,
That sounds
um,
great.
yeah, it was
Laura, I'd
cool.
love to sit and chat with you more. I hope you come back again. I've got 2 people waiting on me and I got to get going. But thank you so much for coming back. It was nice to, hang out with you again, and don't be a stranger.
Yeah, I won't. I'm lurking in the audience.
You're in there. Okay. And do you have anything that are you working on a book or anything, or have a website or something you want to share with people before you go?
I'm just trying to get in the vortex and waiting for whatever it is to come to me. I don't know.
Mm,
We'll see.
cool. That's awesome. All right. Well,
But thank you for everything you do.
thank you, and have a great weekend.
You too.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye.
All right. Amara is next, and then Mr. Cake is here. All right. We got Mr. Cake here as well. Oh, yeah. I got to get to this. I want to say thank you very
For it to come
much.
to me. I don't know.
Mm,
We'll see.
cool. That's awesome. All right.
But thank you for
Thank you very much to Colleen from NH, which I'm assuming is New Hampshire. Thank you so much for that super thanks. I really appreciate it. And she says, thank you, JeffMara, for being inclusive and allowing for diversity here. I'm certainly feeling welcome here. Well, I'm glad you're feeling welcome. Amara, am I saying that right?
Yes.
All right, welcome.
Very good.
And where are you zooming from?
From Staten, Oregon.
Cool. And I was looking at all these. Looks like you in your background. Are those paintings or first? It's wood.
Epoxy resin
Oh,
on
cool.
MDF board that I've made all of them.
Nice.
I'm in my art studio.
At first, I thought it was granite that I was looking at.
Oh no.
Some of it looks like granite.
No,
So
it's really reflects.
So do you melt like epoxy and let it kind of?
Yeah, I've mixed mica powders with it, and it's a 2-part epoxy that's food safe. So I actually got my contractor's license to be able to go into people's homes and resurface countertops and tabletops, and now I'm just mostly doing art.
That's cool. It's beautiful. Is it as a countertop? Is that gonna be able to withstand you chopping on it and stuff?
Well, you don't cut on it.
Okay.
It's pretty durable, and I put a heat resistant or scratch resistant coating on it, so it prevents a lot of bright marks and scratches and stuff.
Cool.
So
that's awesome.
yeah.
What part of Oregon are you from?
Staten. It's just east of Salem,
Staten,
which is the state capital.
All right. But we had a comment. My wife is showing me that Martin is saying it's beautiful, just like you.
Oh well, thank you.
All right. So what do you have to share with us this evening?
Well, I have had kind of a lifetime so far of many different spiritual experiences. One of the first ones I remembered when I was 16, I was in cross country running in high school, And I was coming back from a 2.5 mile run from a park, and I was in this field, huge field by the schools. So the elementary school was on one side, and I was on my way back to the high school. And this guy jogs in front of me and said, "Keep up the faith." And I went, "Huh, that's odd." And I turned to look to see where he went, and he was gone. He was absolutely gone. And I went, "What in the world?" Had no idea. And it's probably an angel that popped in and was kind of encouraging me, because my childhood wasn't that great. It was full of a lot of turmoil and trauma and stuff like that. So, and throughout my life, I went into massage school in my late 20s, and I started hearing things about metaphysics, energy, all kinds of things, where I had organized religion crammed down my throat as a teenager by my dad, because he was a convert, and nothing wrong with that, but it wasn't my thing. And so, I started receiving energy work and all kinds of different things. And my path took me down some roads of doing personal growth workshops and things like that. And it was just amazing how intuition opens. It's opening a lot more when I read this book about how to get in touch with your spirit guides. And as I started doing the meditations they explained in the book, I met my main spirit guide and 9 others that are with me at different times. And through some of the meditations, the book explained to either create a garden in your mind, or mountains or ocean. And I created this beautiful garden. I said, "Okay, Nighthawk," that's my spirit guide's name. I said, "What am I meant to learn today?" So I walked up the steps to the garden, and there was this beautiful oval pool of water. And I was instructed to lay horizontally in the water. And I started to go in the water, and I went, "How am I going to breathe? Oh, that's right, I'm in spirit." So I laid in the water, and as I went in the water, there were light beings standing all around the pool, and they had these bright colored lights in their hands, like a ball of light. And as I was laying horizontal in the water, I could see them tossing the balls, and they would go around my body and spin around my body all the way down it. And I know they were downloading something to me, but I had no idea what. And as all these interesting events started happening, my sister and I are on a similar spiritual growth path. And it was fascinating. She told me about Michelle Smallwright, who's I think in New Hampshire or somewhere back east. And she has a company called Paralandra, where she grows all the plants to make flower essences. So I bought some flower essences, and my sister had a book that showed you how to cleanse the earth on your property, to cleanse the energetic grid using earth elements. And it was interesting, when I did that, 5 minutes after I went back into the house, after I did what the book said, I get this phone call. It was on a Saturday. And this lady asked me if I did energy work. And I said, "Yes, I do." And she says, "Well, there's a family member that had a C-section to have a baby. And somehow she got the sepsis going on. So they life flighted her from the coast at Astoria to Portland. And it doesn't look like she's going to make it. Would you be willing to go up and do energy work on her?" And I said, "Well, of course." I was going up to pick up my daughter that was spending the night at a friend in Vancouver, Washington. So I was going up that way anyway. And she says, "Well, let me ask the family if that's okay," because they're very ultra religious, and they may think energy work is kind of woo-woo. So 5 minutes later, she called me back, and she says, "Unfortunately, they don't want you to come up and do it." So as I was driving towards Portland, this was the most interesting experience I've had so far. I was in 2 places at once. And I heard through the metaphysics, training and stuff that you could actually do that. And I went, how do you do that? So as I was in my car, my mind went to, I saw myself pulling into the hospital where this lady was, going up to what floor she was. And there was a chair outside of her room, and I sat down in the chair, and someone asked me, can I help you? And I said, well, I'm just waiting here for someone. And as soon as no one was in that lady's room, I went into her room and asked her if I could do some energy work. And she said, yes. I put my hand over her body, and I asked different colors of light to come into her body, and I could see them coming in and filtering through her body. And as soon as I saw someone come back into the room, I pulled my hand back and I left. I went and picked up my daughter. And when I got home, there was a voicemail on my voice recorder from a very excited lady. Was the lady that initially called me. And I called her back, and she says, oh my God, people saw you there. And I went, what? I said, let me tell you what happened. And I repeated what I just said to her. And she said, they saw you. And I said, how could they see me? I was there in spirit. And she said, there was a lady with a white long gown on that went into her room and did energy work, and she's going to make it. And
wow,
I went,
it's amazing.
Holy moly. that was quite interesting. So, I've always been interested in anything spiritual, anything energetic, anything that would help humanity and myself and whoever I touch through my work doing massage therapy. Been a massage therapist for 28 years. And now my intuition is opening to the point where I can ask their body questions, and they'll give me downloads of what to do. And it's so fascinating how even working with the body and how it's put together, working on touching an ankle and asking, where does this point lead to? And it was pec minor. And I shifted pec minor and the foot pain was gone. And I went, no way. That is so trippy. And so I'm in watching all your podcasts on NDEs and things like that the last several months. I've just more and more things are starting to open up. And all summer long, I've been kind of in a quandary place of what's next, because I'm a seeker of more information. And 3 or 4 people told me about Dolores Cannon. And so I found someone close by that does the QHHT hypnosis regressions. And I'm going to have that with her in October.
Oh, awesome. I hope you come back and share with us what you learned from that.
I will.
It's interesting that you mentioned that you're getting these things are happening to you after you're watching the podcast. Twice, someone has showed up here on the Saturday and have had some type of an experience, which they're connecting it from watching this podcast. So it's interesting that, do you feel like just watching these NDEs every day is somehow shifting your energy and opening you up?
Big time. And now that I'm listening to the audiobooks of Dolores Cannon and really seeing what's possible through what people have experienced through connecting with their higher source, subconscious, other side, whatever it is, I know there's a lot more possible. So that opens me a lot bigger.
That's awesome.
So,
well, that's very cool. Amara, thank you so much for coming and sharing. I got to run to the next person, but again, please come back after you get your sessions with the QHHT and let us know what happens.
I shall. Thank
All
you.
right, have a great weekend.
Be well.
Bye-bye, you too.
Bye-bye.
All right, next up is Mr. Cake, our most dedicated audience member who's been here with us from the beginning. He's never missed one podcast and never missed.
My favorite host in the whole world. Obi-Wan Kenobi.
We got you on.
Golden ticket. I got a golden ticket.
You're totally frozen. Maybe.
Yes, we've won. Big win, folks. Jeff
You're-
got me. He sent me something.
All
All
right,
right, we're gonna cast out those demons, baby.
You're totally frozen. Maybe you should sign out and come back in.
Sign out how to just Zoom or what?
Well, now you're okay, but at first you were just like, totally frozen, but you're good here. Okay, now you're good. You looks like you shaved. You look 10 years
I'm
younger.
always shaving for the best. I shave it for the best. So Jeff sent me a golden ticket. We've got a golden ticket to the show, folks. #1 best podcast in the world.
Well,
He sent me this. You can see. I don't know if you can see that Darth Vader.
Mm-hmm. It was a yes. Now you're back. I wasn't sure.
Happy birthday, everyone! Happy birthday.
I wasn't sure if someone else might get your card, so that's why I tried to make it where only you could sign for it.
Happy birthday, says happy birthday, Stephen. My darling, this is darling to me. So, happy birthday, darling. It's wonderful to be here. Thank you for coming on my podcast and telling funny jokes. They are dreams come true. They're coming true right now by being on the show. Thank you, Jeff and Mara. Love.
Well, we love you, Stephen, and we just wanted to do a little something for you for your birthday.
Yeah, it was awesome. You must have saw my Star Wars video.
Oh, well, I don't, I on YouTube you can hover it, and I saw your video there, and you were coming up with these numbers, and I never understood how you came up with these numbers until it was either today or yesterday. I saw that you did it through muscle testing, so that's how you came up. Yeah, I didn't know that.
So we all have an energy field. So you have we have positive energy fields here,
right?
And there's negative. This is a negative energy field.
Mm-hmm.
So but he's not totally. There's a little bit of good in him. It's like I can sense the good in you. But the Emperor is basically like totally got him. Defeat you with my boots. He's like totally gone. You can't bring him back. But
I wish I could have found an Obi-Wan Kenobi card, but I didn't see one. That was the closest I could get.
This is good enough.
His friend.
Yeah, so it's like, and I mentioned George Lucas is tapping into. I do it too. But anyone who's creative, we're tapping into these other worlds, and that's where he's getting all this information. Because they say, "Is he that smart?" No, he's tapping into it. It's not like it's like he's just tapping into that world.
Right.
He's like, oh, we got dirt. He's like, he just knows it. Just like people write books or people make these. Thanks for I see all the people wishing me happy birthday. Yeah, it's October 5th is my birthday. So.
Yeah, I think that, the information's out there, and sometimes multiple people tap into it. And it seems like they all have the same idea at the same time. They do it. Oh, that's right.
I think you're right.
And it's coming up here that they're saying you're turning the big 4-0. You're leveling up. You're leveling up to. You're going up. You're leveling up.
Folks, I did it. #1. We got to 40.
We have it. I wish.
Hey, kids, maybe you got to 50 next time. We'll have a big birthday pass for you there. Mm-hmm. And dinosaurs can come out. They were dying millions of years ago, but they're creeping. They're crawling. They're coming back, and we're gonna bring back. But watch out! They might teach you. They don't like lawyers as much as they don't like lawyers, but it gives them a little indigestion. But they'll eat them. They'll eat them, folks.
I was gonna ask you something, and I forgot. I was focusing on Jeff Goldblum, and then I lost it.
Yeah, I've just been out for a lot of walks, like because all the prayers, like it's like you get gifts. So if you watch my videos, you'll see they change from spirit dancing to, I said Mother Mary dancing, because it's like they gave me those gifts.
Yeah, I noticed. Those gifts. I saw that video today that you had that new dancing with Mother Mary's energy or something.
Yeah, I just begged to, like, please help me, be better, in every regard. And she granted me those gifts.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to thank. So she wants us to thank, just be thankful. Just say thanks for the gifts. Because I used to have no gifts. I had like a couple I could do. Money, I could do Doc Brown. Money, science, money. Your wife lives in 1885, but she's dead. She died in a ravine, money. What do? Create a time machine, go back and save her, money. And then that's just how it works. See, it's just stuff like that. Like I did have that gift.
Now, Emily in the chat is asking, have you ever taken a channeling class? You must be a natural. Have you?
I'm channeling right now. Yeah, I've been mother and father are working with me.
Mm-hmm.
They're like because my real life mother and father basically abandoned me. And so I sat there and begged, and they said, we're going to step in and be your. So basically I'm channeling them. So if you want to know anything, I just ask them, they tell me. They say, you go here, you walk there, you go up, you say hi to this guy, you go give this lady a hug, you tell him nice job. And that's what I was doing the last few days. I just walk around and say, hey, you're doing great. You're doing great. And some people just need to hear that. They just need, you're doing great today. Some people need a thumbs up. Some people just need an acknowledgement. Like everyone needs like a little different thing.
Now,
like you need to hear you're doing a great job.
Yeah.
You're doing a great job, Jeff. You're doing a great job. Keep doing it. We love you, man. We love you.
Now, when you say you're channeling mother and father, I was thinking you're talking about the Virgin Mary, but I don't know if that's true anymore.
So okay, we're in like a game room, and think of it as like a D&D, like that. And like they just have the role of game master, but we don't know who might have it. And then we each have qualities. So it changes the way the game is played. So like you could have the same set of rules, but you put two different game masters in there. All of a sudden you got a way different game.
Right.
So that's what
you're dealing with, like a dungeon master.
Yeah.
You're playing, you're living D&D.
Yeah. I can tell you my oversoul ability or quality is paradox. So like everything for me is a yes and a no. Like there's no just yes or just no. Whenever you ask like, how you doing? It's like, well, good and bad. Like there's never ever a simple answer for me. But for Mary, yeah, it's just simple. Everything is just, let's get it done. That's what she said. I'm a paradox because I want to get everything done, but I want to take my time doing it. I want to get everything done today, but let's take our time. Let's just take it easy. So that's a paradox.
Now, have you ever channeled Mary speaking about Monique?
Yes. So let me ask her if I can. Yeah, said okay. So basically we're in the game, and that means to stay in the game, and she likes this analogy. It's like we're in a big chess tournament. You have to play by the rules. And if you start breaking the rules, you might win some games, but guess what? They got every game recorded. So you're going to be disqualified. So she said, yeah, I can talk about when Monique just wanted to come back to see her friends. She's out of the game. And she said, I can talk about psychics that they're out of the game as well. They just beg God to not be thrown into hell. Hell is not what we think it is. It's more like the, like the sidelines, like tag, you're out. Okay, you got to sit on the sidelines, but they got to make it bad, really bad. It's not supposed to be bad.
I lost. Oh, now you're back.
You want me to repeat any of that, or
no? I heard you. It's just your video feed froze.
Oh, good. Oh, that's all you need to hear.
Who
cares? I turn it off if it helps. But
now that you've shaved, it looks like you're turning 30 instead of 40.
I'm turning 30. I'm like the ugly duckling, darling. It took me a long time to turn into a swan. When I was young, I didn't look very nice. I looked gangly and weak and pathetic, and now I look like a strong, muscle man, Herculean. Yes, very, very beefy.
That's good.
But one thing I lacked, is I lacked discipline. So they're teaching me discipline right now, because I wasn't in the military. I wasn't in anything like that.
Do you have any?
It's a good discipline. one.
Do you have any plans for your birthday?
Not right now, darling, but it'll turn up. It'll turn up.
Not yet.
Every day to me is now like, it feels like about 10 days because like, yeah, I'm like in a, you can watch the Never Ending Story, and I'm basically like that kid. And then ask that kid, what does a day feel like to that kid? He'll say like 10 days, because there's so much going on. It's not just in this world, but then what's going on in the spirit world, where it's a dual reality. When we say good things, it blesses their world. And then it's just like, it's a two-way street. So you should, and you don't have to say words to bless something. Just like if I do this and I pat it in a loving way, I just blessed it. I didn't say a word, but I did it in a loving fashion. So that's blessing. Cursing is when you start, that curses it.
I don't remember which guest of mine just said this recently, but he's saying that when you're happy, your energy goes out to the universe, and the universe likes your happy energy. So the universe really wants you to be happy. So you're spreading this happy energy. What you were talking about kind of reminded me of that.
We are all in this together. There's no it's not an individual sport. And there's another myth, the one with everything, like that can be good or can be bad. If everyone is evil and you're one with them, then it's not good. But if everyone's great, you're dancing, you're happy, you're having fun every day at the pool. Yeah. So
all right, well, you know what,
God bless you, Jeff.
Thank you. God bless you.
Shows are overtime now.
Well, what I was going to do is, while I have you here, and there's no, it's technically over, but it's still going. I haven't done this yet, and I've got to show my remote viewing object yet. So for the remote viewers out there, I'll give you, if you want to put in the chat what you think it is that I have, and you can at least put color, material. I thought it
was like a green or something like that.
Color, material, what is the shape of it? If you want to say that real quick, I'm about to show my remote viewing object. And I'm looking.
I don't know what it is.
And what? Oh, okay, yeah. And this is something that I had in my office when I used to practice chiropractic. I used to have these. I'm giving a hint. I don't know if that's going to help or not. A cheese grater. It's not a cheese grater.
I got an intuition. This is so Jeff, sometimes it looks like you're losing your patience with guests, but you like, that's just how it looks, but you are super patient with your guests. Like, it just kind of looks like you're getting kind of bored of them, but like, that's just how it looks. But inside you really want to hear what they're saying.
Yes, I do. All right, you ready for this?
But sometimes it looks the other way, though.
Well, I think anybody, if you're listening, I mean, how, I mean, I don't know, if you're listening, right? I mean, I don't know how you're supposed to, I don't know if I.
Well, maybe just say a prayer, God, help me make it look like I'm more, into it,
All right,
I can tell. See, I love humor. This is. Go ahead.
Sometimes I'm just, when I go down like this, it's a comfort. I mean, I'm leaning over, I'm comfortable. Sometimes I'm sitting up, and then I just change position.
Yeah.
This is it. This is actually, so if you said plastic, you said green, you're kind of close. It's actually blue, but maybe. And someone said stuffed animal. It is a penguin. This wasn't.
I thought it was like a foam type ball.
This is just an ice pack, It's an ice pack.
It has a circle.
It said Reynolds Chiropractic on there. There's my old number. That number doesn't exist anymore because I don't have an office anymore.
So when I was remote viewing, like, it's not an exact science. I got like it's got those lines like a tennis ball. You know what I mean? It's like, I can't tell you what it is, but I can go, that's how it feels to me when I feel it in my mind.
Well, that's why I kind of say, okay, if you got the color, if you got the shape, if someone would have said something plastic or something, I don't know if you, I mean, you were here because you never missed. Surprisingly, somebody got this, the Merkaba, a week or two ago. I mean, how would you pick out a Merkaba? But somebody did. That was probably the most amazing one, that somebody got that one. So
I'm always close, but I'm, it's like close but no cigar type of thing.
So
I got an interesting, if you want to hear about comedy,
all
I got
right.
an interesting revelation. Like, is that I have first I'd have to explain the she said there's positive, I'll just make it in a real general sense. There's positive and negative comedy, and that it's really easy to get into the negative comedy.
Yeah.
So I try to keep it all positive, but and I try to bait in the bad people and then give them the good message. That's what it's kind of like the bait.
Right.
God bless.
Right. It's interesting that you say that, because I read part of this book. I think it was called Comedy Writing Secrets, and there's basically 7 types of jokes. And you can tell the person when you about what they laugh at. And obviously there are some jokes where you're just berating people and talking, kind of like gossip jokes, like, did you see so and so, how fat she was? And if people love that type of jokes,
I can tell you about this one is we all have these fantasies, and it's a fantasy of a comedian to get into another comedian's jokes. So I have a joke that all I need in life is health, hope, and things to do. And this is a joke for an older audience, but the joke that the comedian he likes when I said, I only have 3 things I need in life: health, Bob Hope, and things to do. He like,
with old Bob
because
Hope.
it's a comedian's dream. That's what all those roasts are about. They just want to get into another comedian's joke line. It gets a little too dark, though. That's the problem.
Have you ever considered going into one, like an open night at a comedy place, and trying it out, because you're very good at impressions?
Let me respond to that. Hell is absolutely brutal. They're correct, but it wasn't originally designed that way. It's the people that it's, you know what I mean? It's like you can have the same room with good people and have a great time. You can have the same room with bad people and have a bad time. So it's who's in it. It's just that's where they hang out,
Thought my dog was crying. Sorry. Well, Stephen, I got someone else waiting on me, so I guess I'm not finishing the podcast yet. I've got to run to the next person. So, anyways,
we're gonna work on it. We're gonna pray through, man.
We're gonna work it out.
God bless everyone.
God bless you. Have an amazing birthday, and take care.
I gotta go take it. I gotta go take it.
Oh, he's gone. Julian's here. I don't know. It says Julian. There's Julian.
Hi.
Hey, Julian.
Hey, how's it going?
Great. How are you?
Good. Just been watching a long time and just decided to just share my story. So
I'm glad you did. Where are you Zooming from tonight?
I'm Zooming from Denver, Colorado.
Oh, nice. I've never been there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of interesting things that they write about that airport out there.
Yeah, I know. Just a lot of things that I see about the murals that they have and everything. It's always so interesting. So
is that your daughter's feet behind you?
It is. Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
So what do you got to share with us?
It's not really a near death experience. I mean, even though it almost seems kind of like it seems like it could have been death, but then it's also
a near
seems
death like experience then, right?
Right. And so I'll start. I was like 4 years old, and I had a little friend, and her name was Susie. And Susie and I we lived in this apartment complex, and she'd either come to my house and she'd knock on my door and we just shoot out. So if I remember correctly, I went over to her house and I knocked on her door and we did our routine and we just shot out and we just explored the neighborhood. And so, I mean, we'd always pass this gated area, and inside, of course, it was a pool. And I think the pool was supposed to.
Let me stop you 1 second. Do you have YouTube volume still on? Because I feel like I hear echoing in the background.
Yes, I do. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
No problem. Just thought
I
would catch you that. It's okay. All right. So
Thank
carry on.
Okay. So I think the pool was supposed to be locked. And so we went inside we went inside the little gated area, and so it was like a strange pool that I had never seen before. It was like this the mouth of it was kind of small, and it was really deep, and you could just look down. And I just remember looking down into the pool, thinking, and it had no water in it for some reason. And so I just remember just looking down into it, and it was just dark and it was just really ominous looking. So I, just playing around, I took a stick and I threw it in there and I just watched it. And I was just thinking how awful it would be to fall in there. And, how would I get out and things like that. So my friend Susie, she took off in the other direction toward the larger pool. And so I was still staring there, but I was like, okay, I want to see what she's doing. I'm gonna go find her. And so I kind of ran in her direction. Well, of course, the deck was wet, or I end up slipping in the pool. And so I'll go back probably about a week earlier, and I was playing with my father. My father and I was in the living room, and I was playing with my father. And my father, he was just doing some really silly things. He was like, if I take you swimming, I want you to doggy paddle like this. And he was, and just kid stuff. And I found it so hilarious. And so, but for some reason, that just registered in my mind. So I fall into the pool, and I see like these figures like in the pool, and I'm looking, and I'm like, in my mind, I'm thinking like, what are you doing here? Like, and I'm looking, and immediately the first figure that I saw pointed and said, go, and it wasn't, it wasn't like, speaking, like, it was just all inside, and like a lot of telepathic, yeah. And like a lot of other near-death experiences have talked about. That's kind of how I kind of just saw it, just so them being so valid, their stories, because I experienced that myself. And so I look in the direction that this figure pointed to, and all along the side was just other figures, just kind of just standing there, just kind of guiding me, just saying, come on, go, And so it's okay, kiddo. And so I just kind of, did the best I could. I didn't know how to swim whatsoever, but I was just kind of gliding through the water, just gradually going through the water. And so eventually I make it to the steps at the opposite end of the pool, and I climb out, and it was like the whole time I was in the water, I was like breathing. It was like it just seems like I was actually breathing air. And when I stepped out, it was just like regular regular breath, which was so interesting. And so I got out the pool, and I'm soaking wet, and my friend Susie, she's just kind of standing there like like surprised, like, oh my goodness, like she didn't even know I had fell into the pool. And so I was like, okay, let me just go home. This, this excursion is done. And so I turned and I looked in the pool, and I'm sitting there thinking, like, there were people in this water, there were people that were guiding me. And so I go home and I go inside, and I, like, my mother, she's like looking at me like, what were you doing? Like, where were you at? She's kind of grilling me. What were you doing? Like, why are you wet? And I was like, well, I fell in the pool. And she was just like, oh my gosh, just kind of tripping out. And so, I mean, and that's kind of, that's kind of just my story, just something that I wanted to share there that was just kind of amazing there.
It was. That is an amazing story, and thank you for sharing it. Do you think those were your spirit guides or what?
I believe so. I believe so. It was probably maybe a few years ago, and I was kind of doing like fasting and praying and things like that, and I asked to see that angel again. And so we went to the grocery store. My ex-wife and I, we went to the grocery store, and we were walking into the store, and there was this person. He was just really beat up. You could just tell his face was just disfigured and swollen, and his jaw was swollen. He was like, he asked me, he was like, sir, I got into an accident, and I'm trying to get home. And I mean, initially when I first saw him, it was just like almost this fear, like, oh my gosh, like, I had sympathy. I was like, oh my gosh, how can I help him? But then it was kind of like, okay, just this kind of fear. And so I said, I'm sorry, but I'm kind of in a hurry, and we were in a hurry to grab our stuff, and we had another engagement to go to. And so I was in the store, and I was kind of walking around, and I remember this voice. His voice was it was just the tone of it was just totally opposite of what he looked like and everything. And it was just very comforting. And I recalled that same kind of tone, that same voice of that figure, in the pool. And I was like, oh my God, like, that's who that was. I was kind of excited, but I didn't say anything to my wife, and so my ex-wife. And so I was like, okay, let's get our stuff. I just kind of made an excuse. Okay, let's get our stuff. Let's go. And so I turned around, like we walked in the store, and when I turned around, he was completely gone. He was like, and I went and I kind of looked, and I was kind of looking around and kind of saying, okay, where did this person go that fast? Completely gone. So it was like,
interesting if that was your angel.
Yeah,
why it appeared that way.
Yeah, right. Maybe it was a lesson, kind of, just not looking at appearances. Like, your angels, and my family have always said, like, you never know how your angels can come to you. They can come to you in any way. So, kind of treat everybody in a certain way.
Have you had any other contact with them?
No, I think it's more so kind of audibly, kind of just certain, well, I think feelings more so. If certain certain situations that, like, if I'm driving down the highway or something, and I get this feeling like, okay, turn off here, and then go to take that next exit back onto the highway. And sure enough, a lot of times it'll be like an accident that has happened, or sometimes just something has happened. So I think more so it's kind of feelings now, like things like that.
Interesting. Well, you had an amazing experience. I mean, and it definitely appears that it wasn't your time that day. You were supposed to, you were supposed to be here. So, that was amazing.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for coming on and sharing it with us.
No worries. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. All right. Well, I'm going to get going, but thank you again. And don't be a stranger.
Okay. I won't. I'll be watching next week for sure.
All right. Thanks, Julian. Have a great evening.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right, so before I go, I first want to say thank you to Leslie Kings. Thank you so much for that super thanks. I really appreciate it. It says, you are amazing. Thank you for that. And we're still, one of these days, you're going to get your system working so you can come on and play for us live. And so it was good night. And I appreciate you guys all watching and coming here and hanging out with us on Saturday nights. And looks like we have another week. I think if you weren't here earlier, if you made it late, you can go back, and I mentioned all the guests that are coming up this week. Tomorrow's guest I have with Julie Ryan, and we talked about the 12 phases of transitioning, among other things. And then I've probably got about, I don't know, 3 or 4 NDEs coming up next week for you. So I hope you enjoy those as well. So thank you guys again. Have a great night and a great rest of your weekend.